Hello, everyone.
Thank you for coming to see us and
Yes.
your branding experts.
Yes.
So, today we want to talk about, are you doing these mistakes in your branding? And so, we want to
No.
go right away into talking about these. Okay, it shows that we are live. Thank you so much for coming and attending our live and attending our training if this is your replay. But we want to go ahead and get straight to it. We want to be short and sweet. So we're going to give you the 8 mistakes that you're making right now. And the first one
Yes. Your
is
brand is thrown together.
yes. So it seems like too many companies go ahead and just throw their brand together, or it's on a whim, or it's, well, I really like these colors and I'm going to go ahead and buy myself an Etsy logo. Mind you, those are not logos, those are illustrations. Maybe we should do a live on that.
I will write that one down.
I know. I always forget later. Okay, let me write it down because I am going to
Etsy
forget.
logo talk.
Okay, so yeah, putting together your branding efforts is just like hodgepodge.
Yep.
And at the end, that's a lot harder to actually save yourself and recover your brand once you've already put together something just sloppy.
Creatively, it makes me think about preparing for dinner. And when you don't have a plan ready to have a good dinner presentation, what do? You
Well,
throw
imagine if
something together.
it's like Thanksgiving.
Yes,
You
exactly.
invited everyone
Yep.
and everyone's expecting what everyone else does
Yep.
because there are expectations. The
That's
same
right.
goes for branding. And what are your expectations and do they match? And it's like,
Yep.
well, I didn't buy a turkey. I didn't bring the corn. I didn't bring the yams or the apple pie or the pumpkin pie.
Or maybe you did, but you had to like suffice with like the B-rate versions of them all.
Yeah, something like that. I would say worse than that because an illustration, that's like eating chicken for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no.
No. It's
No, it's got
hard
to
to
be planned
save.
out well. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
it's
to
hard
plan
to
it out.
save. Yeah, Thanksgiving after you have a chicken done instead of a turkey.
Exactly. That's why branding is just like that. I love
It is
this.
actually.
There's no purpose. There's no
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, there's
Everything's
no
just
values.
hodgepodge.
Yeah, you have not researched your market. You
Yep,
have not researched your audience. You have no idea what's going to be likable or not,
that's right.
um, and what's expected.
Yep,
So
yep.
save yourself the time, energy, and frustration that comes with piecemealing and invest in your future, you know?
And get started. I mean, come prepared with a mission and vision and
Yes,
values. I mean, that's
very true.
that's like part of the start of you
Yeah,
not looking like you're throwing it all together.
yeah. And
And
we
it's
go
gonna
deep
dive
into,
deep.
yeah, we're going to dive deep into strategy and into a workshop where we're going to extract all that from you, your values, your mission, your how, your why, price point, offers, audience, marketing, all of it.
Yes.
Um, so, number 2,
Your
your brand
brand
does
does not reflect your culture.
culture. So many times, what happens is that you have values or a culture internally that does not match what you are proclaiming as your
Yeah.
brand.
Yep. It's kind of like double-mindedness.
Yes. And so it's like identity crisis.
Yes.
We have seen this in brands. We have seen when brands do not act like they're what they're supposed to be.
That's right.
We were just talking about this because it is controversial, and it's been happening where a lot of luxury brands
Mhm.
are not keeping to their personality and what their values are.
Yep.
And what happens with that happens. Like what
The shit.
occurs is, and the morale of the business goes down, like
Yeah.
internally, and then it brews frustration. It causes for your employees not to understand what is going on. Why do you say something outside compared to what goes inside?
Yep. Morale
And so,
goes down.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you need to create a unified internal external brand experience
That's
where
right.
what you say and how you act comes into alignment.
Yes. I was just
Okay?
gonna use that word. Alignment is
Yeah.
so important. Mhm.
So you want to invest in culture and brand workshops and work on creating internal and external brand alignment for a happier and healthier workplace, which also your customer experience leads to a stronger brand.
Yep.
So
Yep. And the
that's
why comes out of that too.
yes. So it's extremely important. And I think people don't realize that there is such a thing and that it does make a difference. So those are some things that you want to bring up to a brand agency if you're going to have one. Like, okay, this is my concern. My brand right now, my company, our values do not align with what is on the outside. And so how do we fix that? Because a brand workshop, really, we listen to what you want to bring up. Yes, we touch on everything, but we normally touch on one thing or another more than another. Why? Because it depends on the company, right? We're going to attend to your needs, not to just generalize everything. 3, you're unrealistic about what it takes from a passion, time, and budget standpoint.
Yep. And expectations.
Yes. So, having a lean startup approach to branding isn't the best. And why is that? And it's because everyone comes into the marketplace and prematurely bring ideas. And what happens? You're ill prepared as a
Yep.
brand.
Yep.
And so what
It goes a
happens?
little bit with the sloppy up at the one where it's like a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're very they have this expectation that if I have this set little budget and I've got this set little timeline, I can get my startup up and running and I can be full sailing ahead. But yet I forgot about this here and I forgot about that there. And oh, crud, I got to now pull this in. And
Yeah.
man, I wish I had been more prepared and thought through it and taken the time to think through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to be you we're not saying not to take action imperfectly. It's the fact
Right.
that you should be taking time to really think these through for the reasons that when you're doing a startup, it is really hard to
Yeah.
like there isn't any development, there isn't any research. So you haven't done any market research. A lot of people just throw whatever and they do as they go. And we're
Mhm.
not saying completely that, we disagree with that. But the
Right.
fact is that you have a better so out of 20 companies wanting to do and come online into a market, only one survives because they were realistic about researching, doing marketing, research, going ahead and making sure that their offer is good. Like all these things and doing a brand, like actually building something that would, is substantial and that can withstand time because you want to go ahead and have a company that's well educated and that has realistic values and realistic expectations. Because if you want to do a brand, like branding, website, and everything in 4 weeks, that's going to be hard. That's unrealistic. And that's you're not going to get anywhere in that short of a time because there's not enough time to research anything. There's not enough time to go and doing the workshops.
That's
It
right.
takes a couple of days to do a workshop, and it takes deep diving into making sure that you have one or two offers that are good, seeing if you have customers that are willing to pay and for the price point that you want to pay, right? That
Yeah.
you want to charge.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that we see, and this is not just us. This is industry standards. We're talking about like, are you going to do something that is hodgepodge, or are you going to do something that's really thought out?
Yeah.
So, yeah. You want to say anything else, Nicole?
Just thinking about passion and about the cry of your heart. And then, do you actually really want to work through that? Or, when you're really passionate about something, it seems as if people would want to, you pour your heart into it, right? But if you're not passionate about what you're building, it's not going to actually reflect.
Yeah. And you have to think that this can take 3 to 6 months.
And give yourself grace. It's okay.
Yeah. Just have a plan. Where is your business plan? I think a lot of people don't do a business plan. You don't research anything even on your own. You should have money saved to be able to do a brand.
Yeah.
You
We talked about
should
that
have
last week.
a budget. And if you don't know anything about marketing and branding budgets, go to our previous week and you can go ahead and listen to it. But you should have one. And don't go for slim pickings. Make sure that you have a budget. So, anyways, let's go to number 4 because I don't want to keep going.
Number 4, not choosing your brand partners wisely.
We've seen this time and time again.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that if you're going to commit with one agency or a freelancer, ask for a portfolio or sit with them, talk to them, ask them questions, because you want to know what is going to be the process. What is it that they're going to be doing for you? Our proposals, we do a pre-proposal for our proposal.
Yes, pre.
Like we take the time to explain everything because there's a lot that goes into these jobs, and we're not going to hodgepodge something together. That is not what we do, and that is not what we plan to do.
And clients appreciate it. They love the fact that we do that.
Yeah. Not only that, but it brings you value and it brings something solid to the table. So you want to make sure that you are actually checking these people, seeing their portfolio. Like we don't have our portfolio online yet. We actually we're building it right now. We're actually going to do case studies and do the whole damn thing. Why? Because we feel like, you know what, it's going to up our game and we're going to showcase some of the work that we've done and some of the brands that we've touched, because we have plenty of portfolio work to show. And so, and as you see, if you check our Instagram or Facebook page, you see on there that, we go and start showing work every, practically about once a week. We'll share, part of our portfolio, little social media, because you can't show it as a portfolio. But we do have a portfolio. When you initially meet with us on the first discovery call, that it's free, you get to see our portfolio. Why? Because it's important that you see what is available and what we do, because we have a very diverse portfolio. We can do it all. We do ads, not media management,
right?
As in like paid media.
This is the creative
ads. Yeah, the creative side. We do car wraps. We've done billboards, social media, as you see, because you see ours as well.
Store signage.
Yes.
Corporate branding, like the corporate identity, like your letterhead, business card, envelopes. I've done all that. Yep.
Yeah. And so you see the diversity, t-shirts, mugs, stickers. You see diversity in our profile. and portfolio. And you get to also see that we worked with different brands on different industries, because I think not everyone, some people niche, and our niche is actually branding. We brand people, we brand corporations. We've also realized that who we work with best is someone that has probably more than 2 offers, that have already been in the market, they're profitable, and they're doing well. They've been in business for quite a few years, and they're ready to rebrand. They understand that branding will give them profits. That is who we best work with. Why? Because they understand what we can bring. We can go ahead and talk about KPIs. So, and we can actually show that they will get their investment will get ROI back.
So the strategy and execution are the 2 main things in this point about picking the right partners, because you can either just do strategy and you can talk about the KPIs and you can measure and do metrics and talk about data and research and all this. And then you've got the execution, which is, this is what everything looks like. This is what the creative actually plays out like. And when you find an agency or a partnership of freelancers or whatever, they've got to come into alignment.
That's right.
Because you can't just have the one without the other.
Yes. And I think that's where a lot of freelancers and even agencies fail. We call ourselves a creative branding agency because we're highly creative conceptual work. But our conceptual work has strategy.
It's driven by strategy.
Yeah. If you just have visuals that are just for pretty, and yes, they can be amazing because we do amazing graphic designing. But if you don't have strategy in back of it, it really won't make the emotional pool that it requires from your audience, because the whole point of branding is to feel an emotion, a closeness with the brand. So we want your brand to have that emotion for your audience, so your audience can feel close to you, because that is what brings brand loyalty. Yes. Anyways, let's go to the next one. 5.
You lack the vision for the brand you're building.
So, so lack of vision.
This is about what you're believing in.
Yeah.
What do you believe in? And then how do you communicate it? And then does your audience actually believe what you believe in?
Yeah.
Is it compelling enough?
Yes, you want to have a clear vision.
Exactly.
Clear vision. It's seeing what your company is about. It is your messaging. It is a long-term trajectory. This is not a short-term thing. This is for the long run. Brand management and awareness is for the long run. This is not for short, visuals and that's it. It's so you actually have a foundation that is solid. Your brand has a foundation, and your foundation needs to be continuous with your marketing.
That's right.
And I think a lot of people really miss on that one.
Yeah, and they're not enforcing it. Yeah.
Also, if you don't have a strong enough vision, your team can't execute to do an excellent job.
That's right.
Your employees, your contractors, you want to go ahead and make sure that you have a clear vision so you can provide a greater sense of continuity across the brand, and so like overcoming inefficiencies, frustrations, and confusions. So those are important points.
Yep. Leadership decisions.
Yeah.
Go along with vision.
Number 6, your brand doesn't tell a compelling story and lacks personality.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is a big one actually, because a lot of people say, well, it's supposed to be a personal brand. It's not that. And there's a lot about personal branding that yes, I'm not disagreeing that you need a personal brand, but you should have a corporate brand if it's going to be more than one person. And if you're not planning to work in the business and just be working on the business, you want
Mm-hmm.
it to be a well-oiled machine without you. And if you have a name like, I don't
Yes.
know, housing and constructions, and it could be, let's say, Cooper Housing and Construction. But Cooper doesn't necessarily, the owner, have to be the face of the brand. And so it could withstand without him. And he can work on his business, but not in the business and have to be the face for everything. Because you can then have a team to continuously work for you.
Yep.
And so not having compelling story, not having a personality really, really is what kills you. That's the truth. You don't want, and this is where we talk about identity crisis, where a brand is flat, or it wants to be funny one day, it wants to be serious another day, it wants to be different things every day. And at the end, it shouldn't, because you have a personality and you stick to that personality. And you do, if you go off that personality, people will know. Like, people that know you will know that something's wrong. Like, if you're crying and you're not a crier, like, you never cry, people are going to ask, what is wrong? What is it? They're going to start being concerned. And so if you start being funny and you're, more serious, you're like where is the issue here? Like, something has to be, like, people start being suspicious. Why? Because something has to be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
There's so much confusion, so much fog, and then
yeah.
you're not going to be memorable. And that's just going to be terrible.
Also, don't fall to trends.
That's true. Even visual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned that lesson several years.
Which we see a lot of the times, where brands go and do trendy stuff. And at the end, it's not about doing trendy. This is what happens with high-end brands that we were talking about. Like, we were talking about Tiffany, because I asked Nicole to do some research on Tiffany, because they're a high-end brand. And you got to have a lot of money to be able to pay for Tiffany. And so I asked her, go check some of the pictures or whatever. And she's like, they're like a rebellious brand. I'm like, no, they're not. They're a high-end brand. They're a ruler brand, because that's what they are.
Diesel.
Yes, it reminded her of Diesel. And it's like, what? I was like, no. And so I go check.
And Diesel's a rebel brand.
What happened? They're going with the trends. They're going with what the young people are doing right now. And at the end, instead of having a brand that is withstanding time, they're now wishy-washy. You know why? Because the customers that know them for high quality and high class, because it's not just high quality, it's high class. Because I expect to wear Tiffany if I am in high class. I wouldn't want rebels wearing Tiffany, because they're not high class. We know what high class looks like. We know how they dress, we know how they speak, and we know how they move. And when Tiffany let go of their classiness and started bringing another crowd, it causes for it to lose its audience. Yes, it's trying to go on another audience, but then now it's trending. Like, you don't have a strong brand. At the end, strong branding is about being timeless and withstanding time. And they have not been able to do that. I'm not saying that they can't have marketing tactics to reach the younger audience, but changing who you are to, like, it's like putting a 60-year-old, and please excuse me if you're a 60-year-old dressing like a 20-year-old, I'm sorry. But at the end, I'm not saying that you can't be timeless and you can't be young, but you also dress appropriately for who you are.
Yeah, for your age group.
Yeah. And
I mean,
so,
sure, I do like the graphic tees, but I also don't want to be dressing like my 12-year-old daughter.
yeah. And so it's like there's a difference. And so that's what I'm saying. So great brands spend time cultivating their stories, their ideas, their images, their characteristics that shape their brand. And so that's what we see that is
And they've
falling
had a bit
short.
of a yeah, they had a bit of an identity crisis. And it looks like they're
Yes.
continuing to have one. So
Okay, so let's go to the next one.
the next one.
7.
You're paralyzed by your competition. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
So a lot of clients focus too much on their competition. And the fact is that, yes, you should audit your competitors because you want to see what are their weaknesses, what are their strong points. But you don't want to necessarily be paralyzed by them. You have your own gifts. You can have a section of the market, and you want to position yourself differently than your competitor. You're not trying to steal your competitors.
What makes you unique?
Yes. So what makes you you? What do you bring to the table? What are the values for your company? What is it that you want to, what is your why? And so I just had a reel that I did about my why in reference to like sticking to your why. I'm actually having a post about this, believe on Thursday.
Yes.
So anyways, so you don't want to go ahead and get stuck too much on your competitors and what they're doing because it leads to mediocrity. So you want to do what you do best.
Right.
So that's really what we want to identify. What is it that makes you unique? How can I build on that? So those are what you want to do. How can you help us be the next Apple? But you don't have to be Apple. Like, does that make sense? Like, you create your own. Yeah, you create your own brand. That's what we do together. We position you in a way that you are unique and that you take space in the field.
There's always something incredibly, how do I put it? Whenever we do branding work, we zero in on that uniqueness in a client and we elevate it because really, how many of us are raising our hands when somebody asks a question? Can you service? Yes, I can service. I can service. I can service. But okay, who's raising the hand? And it's so unique. And sure, yeah, you can kind of like be in the same playing field as all the others. But that one unique trait about you really shown beyond the other ones. That's what it is about you.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to number 8, which is your last one. Are you ignoring fundamental shifts within the business?
Pivot.
Yes. Businesses are perpetually on beta mode.
Yep.
Why? Because you're ever growing, ever changing. So you're always going to be moving forward. But you also want to see if you're going to be pivoting, right? And so you want to see how that impacts the brand fundamentally. Nicole?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the shifting. Even with Zachi and I, we're redoing our website, every six
months.
Yeah, every 6 months. But it's more like we have to revisit because if you're not doing that, then you're not going to be flowing in the way your brand really should flow. We have to align that up with the business plan we've got. We got to align that up with the marketing plan we've got. We have to go along with the fundamental shifts because if we ignore the fundamental shifts and we don't align up the branding with those, then it's just not going to work out.
Yes.
And
so
uh-oh, it might be time to do a rebrand.
Yeah.
People need to think about all that.
Yes. And this is why we say that at the beginning, are you going to be like, do you have something? And this is some of our mistakes as well. Because
Yep.
as we came into
We're
business,
learning.
we had to learn. Why? Because I had never ran an agency.
And
I
I've
come
never
from
really done deep, deep strategy. I did it visually.
So I had to learn strategy, and Nicole has 20 years of experience in graphic designing and strategies in that sense, strategic ways for designing. But for actual positioning, for messaging, for voice, for values, and aligning all this stuff,
Learning your why. Yeah.
I needed to take the time to learn all this, and that has taken time.
Yes.
And that has grows every few months. Why? Because I am continuously getting educated.
And it's good.
And
Good stuff.
not only that, but we had to start with lower businesses, let's say with startups.
Yeah.
Why? Because we can definitely provide more value to a startup company. But
Yeah.
as we grow and we have more strategies and more education and more experience, then we are better off helping clients now that are more established owners or a marketing director that needs to outsource part of the branding part. So at the end, who do we help? We help businesses that have been established for a few years that are going ahead and needing a rebrand, because we can do that. Nicole has done that plenty of times. Not only that, but now I have the strategies to be able to help.
I know. I'm so
So
excited.
we are able to, and we've been able to give to smaller businesses that whole experience too. But we can't stay with the smaller companies because they just can't provide the deep experience that we provide for big businesses. Also, KPIs and ROI is best for bigger businesses that have been established. We can provide a better return on investment. And so we obviously want to be able to give the most to the bigger businesses because they're going to get the best ROI. But for the smaller businesses, that's why we do like we have the little branding kit package that we have, the logo kit, which is, it's like $600.
Yeah.
It's, you get your brand logo, you get your logo, you get your colors, you get your fonts, and you get started there.
Yeah.
But then you want to experiment. Then at least you have something, right?
Yeah. You have a good solid foundation that's affordable.
Well,
you can build on
lean
it.
Foundation.
It is a lean one, but it is a good one. It's still a good foundation.
Yeah, but it's lean. It's a lean foundation. And if you're going to start somewhere, then you start there. Because obviously, deep, if you want to have a deep branding experience, we definitely can do it. We can do market research with you and all that.
That's right.
But that requires money and time.
Yeah, this goes back to the point 3, the passion, time, and the budget.
Yeah. And so that is what we're talking about. Like, so there is that, back and forth because you're like, well, you said this here, but it's like, well, yeah, but we know that you're probably going to go ahead and market yourself, when you're just starting. So at least so you look legitimate, you can have a small branding, at least that makes you, look legal and that you're not doing stuff, without any credibility.
Yeah, but you're also taking into account certain best practices too, which more often than not, when startup branding occurs, sometimes these best practices just fly out the window.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, we could go on and on and on.
Yeah, this is a topic we love to talk about. We want to talk about next time. I know we wrote them down so everyone is aware. The one for next week, I put it in here.
Yeah, I like the poster too.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about brand recognition next week. So this
That is
is
next week.
yeah. So next week is going to be about brand recognition and 14 ways to boost awareness. So we're going to be
Awesome.
talking about that next Tuesday. But for
Okay.
right now, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. I hope this is helpful and valuable. If you're making those mistakes, you can always come to us and have a free
Yeah, we can talk about it.
discovery
Oh, good.
call.
Yeah.
We can talk about it. We have 2 spots to be able to talk strategy for July.
Yes.
Go ahead and comment here if you are needing to, or you can DM me, like you can private message me. It's okay. But whatever you wish, go ahead and let us know. And we're more than happy to assist you. I hope that you have a wonderful night and we will see you next Tuesday.
Goodbye.
Bye.